You are now watching Mainewire TV, the most honorable show in Maine and the keepers of the sword of truth. With your host, the brave Sir Tom Shattuck, featuring Mainewire Dragon Slayer-in-Chief Steve Robinson and Sir John Featherston, the indispensable.
It's like a medieval acid trip, Graham. I do like it very, very much. We're back because we've been reconvened by Janet Mills, who has just put out released a video. We'll talk about why Friday night, but we just released a video addressing the fraud. She says the state of Maine is fighting fraud, and we will continue to fight fraud. Today, my administration sent back a comprehensive response to the federal government that makes it crystal clear. Here's my statement. Here we go.
Hello, this is Governor Janet Mills. As you may know, on February 6th, former TV doctor Mehmet Oz.
Okay, let's pause there for a second.
Matt,
you're going to have to get used to this one. This is going to be a little bit of a pause and play here, but former TV doctor here. So let's, right out of the gate, this is not a serious thing. This is a ad hominem attack. The guy's surgeon. Okay, yes, he is also a charismatic person who was on television. But you know who else was a TV personality? Her beloved friend Angus King, the dopey senator who's endorsed her, and she's endorsed him over and over again. So if she wants to argue that having appeared on television or built a career around being on television is somehow undercuts your ability to be an effective, manager of a Medicaid program, let's turn that same criticism over to Angus King. But right out of the gate, ad hominem attacks designed by a political consultant, not a serious thing, not a factual rebuttal.
No, and just a terrible look. The attitude and tone, freaking terrible. We're not even 10 seconds in, and already at least 3 campaign people need to be fired.
Yeah, it's setting the tone so early that the administration is not taking fraud seriously. She's about to pretend. I haven't seen the video. I know she's about to pretend they're taking fraud seriously. When you start a video like that, that's when you know they're not taking fraud seriously.
Wasn't the greatest president of all of our lifetimes a Hollywood actor?
Well, I mean, it depends on if you're talking about Donald Trump or Ronald Reagan.
Well, either's appropriate. Yeah.
Go ahead.
All right. Continue, Matt.
Care and Medicaid Services sent my administration a letter with 33 questions about how Maine manages its Medicaid program.
Bob in that head. Yeah.
Dr. Oz also demanded that these questions be answered within 30 days. Well, today, my administration sent back a comprehensive response to his letter, which I'm releasing to the public. Our response makes clear that the state of Maine is conducting oversight to ensure that Maine care providers are held to high standards of care, that we have robust procedures and enforcement mechanisms to identify fraud.
All right, hold on. Stop it. So, first of all, she mentions that they have to respond within 30 days. I'm old enough to remember when there were Freedom of Access Act requests submitted to the LePage administration for documents about Medicaid, and an attorney general wrote a letter saying that something like 24 days was more than enough time to respond to extensive inquiries. That attorney general happened to be Janet Mills. So for Janet Mills to imply that a month is not enough time for her army of bureaucrats to respond to a request, or that a request with 33 questions is somehow this huge burden for government, again, total BS. Just like none of this so far passes the smell test. None of this even remotely points towards something other than a political response rather than a genuine, earnest response to oversight of the most expensive program that Maine taxpayers pay for.
And it's with a condescending tone from her, and then she goes right into the monotone wading through this boilerplate legal statement. Really, this sucks. She's not good at this, man.
And somehow managing to uptalk as well.
That's exactly what I was going to say. You took the words out of my mouth. It's bobbing the head back and forth and acting like she's the adult in the room, and no, the TV doctor thinks it's going to come at me, Janet Mills, like it's not a serious thing. It's so amateur and just so grating to listen to.
You know what it's like? It reminds me of Hillary with Benghazi saying that was like 3 years ago. Or no, that was.
What difference does it make?
Yeah.
All right.
Law enforcement to hold fraudsters accountable. It was my administration, beginning in 2023, that introduced legislation to require licenses for several categories of Medicaid providers who didn't have them before. Before that, the state of Maine lacked the additional tools we now have to hold providers accountable. With these
All right, pause it. As I've said multiple times, they then suspended the requirement for these 2-bed autism homes to be registered. There are autism homes that I've been to in Levant, Maine, for example, that are not registered. They suspended those requirements for to save us all from COVID, said that they were going to reinstate them, but have not reinstated them. And by the way, if their oversight has been so spectacular all along as a result of Governor Mills' leadership, then why, after the Maine Wire and News Nation visited the location at 75 Bishop, where there's a cluster of these fake home healthcare companies, why did they immediately send letters to all of those providers demanding that they provide lists of clients, lists of employees, and copies of their most recent leases? Why are they now scrambling to provide like some kind of fake oversight if what they were doing all along was just fine?
Yeah, but not only that, but she's giving a victory speech. She's ticking off the things she did to make sure there's no fraud. It's like bragging about your company reinforcing the hull of the Titanic. We went in there and made sure. Well, how'd it work out? This is so.
It's the meme. It's the meme of the guy who's like shaking the champagne bottle and spraying it everywhere, and it zooms out, and then he's like in sixth place on the podium.
Yes.
Yeah. And far less. Yeah. Go ahead, Steve.
Oh, I was just gonna say it makes me feel like you look at the pattern again. Attorney General Aaron Fry, January 10th, 2025, says, "Do not talk to the Department of Justice." The commissioner of the Department of Health and Human Services later says the goal here is to avoid a congressional subpoena. Now Janet Mills says any scrutiny of our Medicaid program whatsoever is just a political attack by TV doctors. This is political messaging designed to get ahead of something really, really bad. And I would not be surprised to see rats start to flee a sinking ship. I think that there's legal culpability here for people in the Trump administration, in the Mills administration, for how this Medicaid program was managed. And I think they're probably trying to get away from that. They'd be smart to get away from that and hire their own attorneys rather than rely on the legal brilliance of Aaron Fry.
Yeah, and maybe it's because we're playing it over StreamYard, but I'm 99.9% sure she's using the Adobe AI audio enhancer filter, which is just amateur hour production tactics. It doesn't work very well, and that's why her voice sounds kind of modulated all over the place. So they probably filmed it in a room with like a big echo or air conditioning. Just kind of fundamental 101 sloppiness for a video as important as this.
I will say they got the lighting right this time. It's not all. You remember when they released the fundraising video before she'd actually declared her candidacy, where she was like all red and blotchy and awful looking. They at least have the light right on this one.
And the actual main flag are under greater scrutiny, and I can assure you, every time we encounter a credible suspicion of fraud, we do take action, and we refer the matter to the Attorney General's office for investigation.
All right, stop it, though.
What?
That's not true.
Wrong.
That's not true.
Wrong.
That is not true at all.
Wrong.
And we know
John Featherson 101.
We know that that's not true because what did they say during the legislative hearings just like 2 weeks ago, that there had been 2 cases referred for criminal prosecution?
Okay, and the guy was like confused when the legislator asked her the question. He was like, "Oh, what? I don't know, like 1 or 2 maybe." So yeah,
I have a 2-word question. Decca DeLocke. Have you talked to Decca DeLocke, Janet Mills? I don't think so.
Yeah. Also, are we supposed to believe that? So there are two referrals to the Attorney General. Are we supposed to believe that there's only ever been two credible allegations of fraud? Because what we're actually hearing is that people who allege that there's fraud or misconduct or abuse in the Maine care system are actually told, you better shut the hell up or you're going to get your license taken away or you're going to be decertified. That's what we've heard. And I think that there's a lot of truth to that. And when we're done with this video, we'll have a little bit of breaking news that we'll go through. I was going to put this in a Robinson report, but since the governor has decided to put out this steaming pile of bullshit, we'll go through all of the notices of violation that I've obtained through a Freedom of Access Act request, and we'll look at all of the amounts of money that have been overbilled to the Medicaid program and swept under the rug with no criminal charges resulting whatsoever. Let's go find Mustafa Alamedi of 5 Stars Home Healthcare, who had his Medicaid funding turn off, but no criminal prosecution there. 25-year-old kid with a home healthcare company that we don't know if it existed or not. He's $1 million richer, and there's no consequences for him. So there's just a few concrete examples that undermine exactly what the governor's talking about there. But we'll put the list up on the screen when we're done listening to the rest of this cockamamie speech.
As district attorney, as your attorney general, and as your governor,
Audio
I've
production.
always cracked down on fraud. I've been going after criminals since before Dr. Oz was on TV peddling fake supplements to the American people. And I've often worked hand in hand with the federal government because going after fraud should be a collective, professional effort between the state and federal government. But under this president.
Yeah, sorry, pause it. Sorry, I got to pause it again. Yes, it should be a collective effort, but the Attorney General of Maine gave $400,000 to Gateway Community Services after there were credible allegations of fraud leveled by a former employee who for 5.5 years handled their Medicaid claims. Okay, so the federal government cannot count on the Attorney General of the state of Maine, and therefore the state of Maine, to be a credible partner in law enforcement when he's giving $400,000 in opioid settlement money to the company that has had these whistleblower allegations leveled against him. Allegations which, by the way, were first brought to the state auditor and were ignored, and were brought to the Department of Homeland Security under Biden and were ignored. And allegations which are supported by audits, three audits that the Mills administration handled of Gateway Community Services. So they had every reason to believe that this was an organization that should not be getting $400,000 in opioid settlement money. And this federal government looking at this has no reason whatsoever to trust that the state of Maine would be good faith partners in any fraud enforcement effort whatsoever.
And, just strategy wise, Dr. Oz is a product of Oprah Winfrey. This is a person who the Democratic base probably has liked for decades. This is not like Stephen Miller, who's got devil horns. She is trying to position this guy as a Satan spawn. It's just not good enough. It's not cooked through. It's just lazy.
Yeah, we're about to get to the real problem with fraud in Maine, which is Trump.
To become a political cudgel that he's using to desperately distract from his failing agenda. And let's be clear about who he's using that cudgel against. Democratic-led states.
I have to say, hold on, I'm a fan of the word cudgel. I think cudgel's in play here. You guys know, back to the Kirk Minahan show days, I'm a fan of the word cudgel. So I have to give her points on invoking that one.
Stand up to him. Look, this is a thinly disguised attempt to attack and intimidate those who fight the president's abuses of power. Nonetheless, we've answered the administration's questions, but we know that the answers don't matter to them. For example, Maine's Medicaid payment error rate is only 2.4%, less than half the national average, 1%.
But how does she decide that? Who decides that?
Right. That's right. That's like Newark, New Jersey saying the crime rate is down. Sure, if you don't process any of the crimes, crime rate is down. That's BS. And by the way, what is a cudgel exactly? Do we know? Is it a
It's
weapon?
it's a weapon.
mallet.
It's like a tool.
Can there
Like a
be
short
one
baseball
at the
bat, I
event
think.
on March 24th? The cudgel of truth?
Cudgel of truth.
Yeah,
Fraud slayer.
Graham, I'm putting you in charge of having the cudgel minted. We need
Okay, I'm on
the main wire cudgel of fraud.
I'm on it.
All right,
Cudgel maker near me.
Continue.
To children with autism, services that CMS is now questioning, we've increased spending to serve more kids. And in many cases, because CMS encouraged us to. These facts don't matter. The outcome of this Trump administration inquiry is predetermined, as are so many of the inquiries they launch in other states, and I fully expect they'll attempt to retaliate against Maine in the same manner they have elsewhere, by withholding federal Medicaid funding. I hope they don't, because it's not necessary, and it will only hurt Maine people. Nearly 400,000 Maine people, seniors, children, veterans, people with disabilities, rely on Maine care. But make no mistake, if the Trump administration attempts to halt Medicaid payments, the Attorney General and I will not hesitate to see him in court.
Applause.
Ugh.
Maine is fighting fraud and will continue to fight fraud. Our responses make that crystal clear. And Maine will not be intimidated by the threats of a president who's using allegations of fraud as a pretext to hurt people. We will fight back.
Oof.
Yeah. So
you're gonna take it to court to delay for you enough to get out of office, so this doesn't have to be a ring around your neck. That's all this is.
Exactly.
And just confirms what I was saying before we even knew she released this video, that Maine is going to be on the hook for a huge amount of federal money being reclawed because of the incompetence and mismanagement of the Mills administration's management of the Medicaid program. And that they're trying to get ahead of that. They know how bad this is. So rather than just respond to a bureaucratic letter with a bureaucratic response, they needed to come out and try and frame this as illegitimate political attack. And oh, by the way, if you're so confident in your response that you can make this haughty video, why did you ask for a delay? What was the
exactly. That's exactly
what was the delay
ask.
about?
Yep.
What was the delay going to allow you to do? And why did you have to attack me for reporting on the fact that you asked for a delay and didn't get it? What would the delay have added if your oversight of the program has been so superb and going back 3, 4, 5 years, you've been so great at shepherding this program? Why did you need extra time?
And why is this after 5 p.m. on a Friday? Is this going?
That's another point. But the thing is, that could be either, again, just the total incompetence of her people, or it could be because she's intentionally trying to bury it, because she doesn't, she knows everybody's already met their deadline, except for the Maine Wire, which is nimble enough to come back and cover it. Everybody's already met their deadline and sailed off into the weekend.
Well, and also could be as well that they could know that something's dropping at any time now, and she wants to get on the road and go to, as soon as it thaws out, oyster festivals and goodness knows whatever, and this can just be used as a repository for her pre-response. So if you need video to her responding, don't ask her at the clam festival. Ask her, please, just go back to the video. She's already covered this. It's a way to say I've already covered it. It was in depth. You've heard my statement. It's the investigation's currently in progress. I have nothing more to give you. Just go back to this. It's lame as hell. And I hope Graham Plattner has, just because this is such poor politicking by her and it makes me angry, I hope this guy knows what to do with this. I hope he does something with this. It would actually show he could, but I'm not trying to get him to win, but I just want him to be able to showcase himself using this in a smart way, but I don't know if he's going to.
Hey, Graham, is this official correspondence up on her website, or where is this official correspondence that she shared with them?
I saw it on X.
I'm looking at it right now. I can share the screen for a second. It's the letter itself is a long response, but here she goes. Obviously, it's intended for people just to watch the video statement instead of clicking through to the full 40-page letter, which will take some time for us to break down and analyze and cover. But she says in 2023, so the personal care agencies, these are the ghost agencies, the suites that are at that 75 Bishop Street building where all the ghost offices. Again, the ones that after our video came out received extra letters saying, hey, prove who your clients are, prove you have employees. So the ones where a viral video prompted additional oversight, this is what she's defending. In 2023, the Mills administration proposed legislation to require the licensure of these agencies. Prior to this effort, these agencies were only required to register with the state. So, I mean, what's the difference between registering with the state and licensing with the state? And has this been enforced? She's almost telling on herself here, because she's saying that we actually strengthened our oversight of all of those buildings, all of those offices where there's no one there, and the boss is back in Uganda, and the 25-year-old kids are making a couple $100,000 a year. She's claiming that she strengthened oversight over the program that has the most explosive growth in costs and the highest rate of fraud indicators.
You can't make this stuff up. You just can't.
Yeah, and I apologize for the camera angle here. I'm looking on Twitter for the video we posted like a month or two ago of the fraud hearing that some committee had in Augusta, because I think it essentially totally invalidates like half of what she was saying. I think that'll be an incredibly damning piece of video to reply to the statement with. And that was coming from people in her own administration. And that was just like a 2-minute clip we posted from a 45-minute hearing too. So I might go back and look more into that one.
And one thing I'll say is, I know it's just ChatGPT, but I dropped it in to look for signs of plagiarism, or to see if this document was prepared using ChatGPT. Some of it looks like maybe there were indications, but without any prompting whatsoever, ChatGPT flags political framing, narrative emphasis, and rhetorical attacks. Instead, it uses institutional defensiveness. So, not the strongest response, but again, I think indicative of what's to come. And I would fully anticipate that Administrator Oz, the TV doctor, is going to come out the victor in this one, because it's very, very hard to make the numbers lie when it comes to money, when it comes to actually auditing the flow of dollars. It's very hard to make that up on the back end. If you ask for an extension, maybe an extra 30 days, it gets a little easier. But I think it's going to be hard for the Mills administration to cover up something that involves hundreds of millions of dollars in misappropriated funding.
Well, yeah, and I also think that this is something that's meant to get under the skin of all. Like she said, see you in court. Trump's going to see this. Oz is going to see this. Trump's going to call Mike Johnson. He's going to call committee members, and they're going to invite her to come up to Congress, and they are going to roast her. And Brandon Gill is going to light her ablaze, and they're going to have a field day, because all there are receipts here. She has nothing. There's no defense other than to try to discredit the accusers. That's it. There's no defense here, and they could just keep on putting Mainwire video of Featherston in all these weird, empty places. It's like
I am loving this. You're absolutely right, Tom. You're absolutely right. That's you've looked into the crystal ball, and that's how it's going to play out.
Yeah, I'm glad she did it, because it's going to get some more action happening, and I think it's probably going to expedite. I don't want to. You mentioned a gentleman's name who was walking around some places, Steve. Could that be related to this?
It very well could be. It very well could be. But yeah. We know that there is a scramble right now by the Mills administration to provide some semblance of oversight. There's a panicked, frenzied effort to try to do the kind of oversight that they should have been doing for the entire time that she was in office. But again, for her to claim that she's been tough on fraud and has referred all these things to to the Attorney General, she came into office and there was an audit of Gateway Community Services that showed that they'd overbilled Medicaid. Then while she was in office, there was another audit that showed that Gateway Community Services had overbilled Medicaid. Then Gateway Community Services hires Decca DeLocke, and Decca becomes a trusted advisor and a member of the Appropriations Committee. And then there's a third audit of Gateway Community Services, while Decca DeLocke is the assistant executive director at Gateway Community Services. So 3 different audits totaling $1.6 million in overpayments to Gateway. There has never been a criminal referral for Gateway Community Services. Never been a referral to the Attorney General, and in fact, the Attorney General instead awarded them $400,000. So a claim filled with lies. But I guarantee you, looking into my own crystal ball, the headline on the Bangor Daily News will be "Yas Queen." Janet Mills says, any criticism of Medicaid is political. That's what this will be. It's
they
designed.
Probably had the article pre-written. Steve.
Yeah.
Probably have that already written, and it's probably coming out now.
This was designed to make any future legitimate finding of fraud within Maine's Medicaid system seem like some coordinated political thing. And you know what? I actually think that in the Democratic primary, Graham Plattner won't be able to weaponize this against Governor Mills, because one, he wants everybody on Medicaid. He wants more Medicaid. He wants a bigger Medicaid program, Medicaid for all, Medicare for all. He wants more of that. But also the higher profile of a fight that Governor Mills is in with the Trump administration, the better it is for her within the primary voters, within the Democrat primary voters. What she's doing now is she's standing up for the Somali fraudsters, and she's saying, I'm going to protect the fraud pipeline. So I think this is a smart play for her politically, even if she's just lying and making it all up.
But did you hear what I heard? Her whole defense is we spent more money. Like, that's her whole defense, that we spent more money, so there can't be any fraud. You spent more money because there is so much fraud. That's why you spent more money.
But also I'm reading the letter right now. Like, okay, so she says that they instituted provider screening. So you actually you had special tools to make sure that legit home health care and 5 stars home health care. Like you're going to tell us that you actually had extra special screening for all of these organizations. Like, you're going to say that you had one-on-one personal oversight of the residential care facilities that John Featherston has been visiting. Like, she's just come closer to owning all of this stuff that's happening. She might have been better off saying we lacked the resources. We didn't have enough money to do effective oversight.
Yep.
Yeah. No, I agree. And by the way, did she kind of throw the AG under the bus by saying we told him?
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. I'd have to go back and look at it. But I mean, the Attorney General has had her back, pretty closely. Although we are coming up, it is approaching midnight, so maybe she's ready to cut him loose. Like, Democrat voters appear ready to cut her loose. There's no permanent allies and no permanent enemies, only permanent interests in the Maine Democratic Party.
Yep.
Yeah, I would say so. My total assessment is bad luck. Obviously, at desperate times, call for something like this. It's cynical. It's small. It's weak. It's unimaginative. It reeks of an incompetent staff and bad advice. But it might be all she has at this point. Graham, what's your take?
I'm stuck on how bad the audio quality was in that statement. just amateur hour. But it's just the tone. Like, you all did a better job covering the content of what she said than I can, but it's the condescending tone. It's the way she's bobbing her head. It's the way she says TV Dr. Oz. It's just like so unserious, and is downplaying the very, very legitimate concerns that people see, people hear. And like, I'm not exaggerating. We've probably got 2,000 DMs over the last 2 months about people concerned about this. And there's plenty of Democrats that are involved in their daily lives and see this stuff happening. So for her to act like it's a Trump political issue and take no accountability, Steve is 100% right. The angle would have been to say that they didn't have the resources, they didn't have the staffing, it's a challenging time with all coming off of COVID, whatever. Make up some excuse like that to try to blame Trump for this somehow. I'd like to hope it's going to backfire on her. I mean, it's going to backfire for people that are paying attention to the story, at least.
Yeah.
So,
Tom and Graham, Tom and Graham, a question for you. Who does Dr. Oz send the response to first, Steve or Governor Mills?
How dare you?
That's a good question. You got to check your email, Steve.
It's true. Actually, I have a special red phone actually that I communicate with Dr. Oz on. Probably he'll send me a Snapchat. But here, looking at just a preview, I don't want to tease it and then not deliver, but here's a list of some of the audits that have been conducted that we found through a Freedom of Access Act request. Now, this is how seriously the Mills administration takes enforcing Medicaid. You look right here at Adam Healthcare Services. They were audited. Fertis Awali was the administrator here. So Fertis Awali was audited and found to have overbilled almost $650,000. As she's being audited, we have the emails that show that she's stringing this audit along and pretending like she doesn't understand what exactly had happened here. She goes out and forms another Medicaid company as she's still going through this audit. That's allowed to happen through Governor Mills' robust screening process. And now it's billing millions of dollars, and it's a residential care facility. And I think it may be one of the ones that John has visited. So as she's been audited for overbilling $650,000, this company, Adam Healthcare Services, by the way, just folds, goes away. As that's happening, she starts another one and gets to continue billing for Medicaid services. But these are some of the audits that have been conducted. And to the best of our knowledge, none of them there's no criminal referrals made when these overpayments are identified. Sometimes they're allowed to pay through set-asides. But this doesn't exactly strike me as the robust level of scrutiny that you would expect from judging by the statement that she just made. And the other thing is that bragging about what did she say? A 2% improper payment rate. It's like in these progressive cities when they stop arresting people for a whole who was the U.S. attorney in the district attorney for Suffolk County who became the U.S. attorney for Boston, Rachel Rollins. Yes, when she came out with this whole list of offenses that she was no longer going to prosecute, so law enforcement stops arresting those people, and then all of a sudden they report that crimes just dropped because we're not arresting anybody. So it turns out that if you're not looking for Medicaid fraud and you're not following up on audits and you're not prosecuting all of these people, your error rate can go down and your fraud rate can go down. And you can be like, fraud's non-existent in our Medicaid program because we're not looking at it. Just like, being drunk in public is non-existent in Boston, Massachusetts.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. But, by the way, Rachel Rollins subsequently indicted, the record shows, not shockingly. These Soros AGs are absolute crooks as well and help themselves to as much graft as they can. All right, John Featherston, do you want to give us your 30-second review?
Well, as you mentioned, I'll agree that it's Friday, 5:00. You're hoping that something happens between now and Monday morning, so this doesn't get picked up. My response is I think Dr. Oz puts Maine on blast by no later than Tuesday and says, "Hey, listen, I'm cutting off your money. And here's your congressional subpoena. We'll see you in 4 weeks." Yep.
Exciting. Now we got to get if he's ever in Maine, we got to get him a TV doctor Oz shirt from the Maine Wire. Steve Robinson, what's your final assessment of this performance by Janet Mills?
It just proves me right, proves John right, proves the Maine Wire right all along, and all of our reporting, all of our predictions come true. The most prescient, Maine media outlet. Not a good sign for the Mills administration, but it is at least an indication, I think, that maybe we will have some justice and some improvement of the conditions that some of these disabled Mainers are living in. If anything, the attention and the conflict and the confrontation will drive a little bit of change and positive reform so that Maine's most vulnerable people don't have to live in deplorable conditions because Janet Mills, wants to cover up a migrant crisis, or Janet Mills is funneling disabled patients into autism homes run by her political allies. So maybe something good at least can come from the confrontation. But this is if there was a poly market, a bet line on this, my money would not be on the Mills administration in the state of Maine to win this argument.
No, ugly stuff, I think. All right. Does anybody have anything else, or should we sign off for this evening?
I think we can sign off for part 2.
All right. Hey, by the way, if anything else breaks off hours overnight, who knows? And anything is possible now. This is an interesting time to be alive. Then MWTV will be here. We will get it going and fire it up one way or another. Steve Robinson.
I actually think the sword of truth will glow blue if there's a news story afoot, and then we'll know it's time to come back.
That was going to be my final statement, Tom. The sword of truth rates this statement as not true. And then I have some graphic where I slice it
like the cleave part of it too. All right. Graham Pollard, Steve Robinson, John Featherson. My name is Tom Shattuck. We'll see you Monday at 4 p.m.